Hello, folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Assassin's Creed VALHALLA Forgotten Myths, Issue 2 by Dark Horse. Now, there is fighting and mythical creatures in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So this is a 3-issue mini-series that came out in 22. And back then, when I got the first issue, I read it. I made a video about it. And then, as always in the past with me, I just didn't continue reading when I got issue 2 and 3. And then, of course, everything was piled on, and I couldn't even find it. I'd actually forgotten about it. Then I found issue 1 again, and then later issue 2 and 3. And again, I misplaced them, and then I found 2 and 3 again. And then finally I remembered where I put 1, because I had to reread it. It has, after all, been 2 years. Finally reread issue 1, because and bloody even remember what happened. And now I finally read issue 2. It took a long while, but I'm finally here. Alright, so when we left off in issue 1, Baldur and Loki were going to, Loki was going to help him woo this merciful princess, the one on the cover here. I'm probably going to butcher a lot of names, because I'm not sure how to pronounce them. But yeah, so that's how the first issue ended. Now in issue 2, Baldur along with Loki goes and all over the nine realms? Was it nine realms? Or all over all the realms and gets these gifts for the princess in order to, impress her and marry her to bring peace between her people and the dwarves. Now, all 6 gifts that Baldur brings, he's constantly rejected from the gates. The soldiers of the princess just go and try to attack him. He just escapes. Because Baldur, his mother blessed him that he is invulnerable to almost everything, except one thing. It's kind of funny, because since then I watched a playthrough of God of War Ragnarok, and Baldur's there. Oh no, wait, Baldur wasn't God of War, sorry. And it's just funny to see this Baldur, this version of Baldur, and then the version of that Baldur. Now that one is this angry, somewhat emo guy. He can't feel anything. Which is interesting, because here he just can't, he's invulnerable to danger. To any sort of thing that can kill him. But that one in the game just couldn't feel anything at all. Huh. Oh, I guess maybe you can understand his anger. Yeah, it's just the contrast between these two is funny. I like day and night. Okay, so it goes all around the gifts, it doesn't work. After the, I think it's 7th attempt then, he brings this drop of something that's very precious to her people. He jumps away not to kill the guards and loses it. And then Loki's like, well, you might want to think of something else. And then they said, oh, did I offend you? And Baldur's like, no, I have these dreams that I'm going to die soon. Or to die, and I want to, at least before then do this. Like, bring peace, at least, and marry the princess. And he's like, I think I got it. I will, I'll forge her something. Because he makes chips. He makes really beautiful things. So they go to the land of the dwarves. They are preparing for war with the princess's people. And they go to the head dwarves there. And they ask, I want to make this gift. This... I'll not exactly tell him who. And he's like, well, times are tough now. I don't see any gold on you, the dwarf tells them. I will not, work for free. That's kind of funny because you'd assume that Balder would have a lot of gold. I mean, like the son of that, one of the gods, right? In the Norse mythology. So what, Balder doesn't... I just found that funny. What, doesn't he have any gold to offer him? At all? And Loki starts spinning a tale about, how there'll be a contest, and Balder tells him, can't you just tell the truth? That might work. And Loki's like, oh, are you appealing to my ego? He tells him, I knew you can get us, you can convince the dwarves. So Loki instead tells him, the dwarf, I may have a solution to your problem, the war. And it's not one, sorry, that was the door. And it's not one that you expect. So Loki, Balder, and his dwarf, they make sketches and they design a beautiful crown. Now Balder, can design it to look beautiful, but he cannot manipulate metal to make it, nor can he bind the gold and the jewels together like Loki can with magic. So they start working. Second, just check something. In between that, we have... Oh, and Loki's all nice to the people and makes jokes with the dwarves, sorry. And then there's like a little intermission, not intermission, but in the first issue, you also see that someone's actually telling the story to people, to kids. But this time it's someone different, because it's an older man telling it to children outside, and then here you suddenly move to, I don't know, probably like a hall where people gather, and some blonde young man is telling the story, and then what a man who's called a monk asks him, wait, I heard in the story that it was a necklace, not a crown. I just want to sketch it down for my records. And he tells him, oh, does it matter? Stories have no lies, no truths. And then we move on back to the story. So Loki and Balder, they traveled to the land of the frost giants to get the jewels, which are actually ice pieces. Now, since Loki is half a Jotun, half a frost giant, he's not that affected basically at all by the cold. But Balder, although invulnerable to death, still, freezing his balls off. So they find shelter, and then the next day, it's already night. Loki lights a fire, and then Balder shows him the ice pieces that he collected, and they're very beautiful. They're so cold that even the fire of the princess's people won't burn it. It'll withstand their fire even. So then they're talking, and Balder tells him, Loki, make me a promise, because he thinks he's not going to survive this cold. Bring the crown and tell the princess of my intentions. And Loki promises him and tells him, sleep now. And nephew, he's his nephew. And then Balder they think it's a dream, and then he wakes up and he's like, mother? It's not, it's his stepmother. He's back in Asgard in his bed, and his stepmother is standing above him, next to the bed. And then she tells him, and he asks, wait, I dreamed, how did I get back home? And she tells him, an old dwarf who said he was a friend brought you back. And then she asks him, she sits down and she asks, can you tell me his name? And he doesn't say anything. He says, I understand. It's dangerous for you to, not team up, but mingle with Loki like that, to trust him. And Balder's like shocked, and yeah, she had her suspicions, his stepmother. that they had, because in the first issue, Loki saved him from. He went with Thor. Thor and what's that? No, that was someone else. I think, not Loki. Balder went with Thor and someone else. I can't remember if it was Loki, even though I reread it. Just the hairdo is very similar. And he got buried under all the rocks because they were fighting someone from the princess's people. And Loki actually let him out of there under the disguise of a dwarf, an old dwarf. So here as well, I guess he used the same disguise and brought him home. And he argues to his stepmother, I know I'm not a fool. I understand that Loki harbors bitterness towards the Asgard, to the people, but I still think, he loves us as family. And, he deserves redemption and all that. She's like, yeah, all right. And then he tells her of his plan to marry this princess. And she starts laughing and says, you are very much like your father. And she's like, I don't know if to congratulate you or to lock you up in the dungeon. And then she leads him to the treasury room and gives him like this green sphere, or green sphere, and she tells him it is a wedding present. Loki goes back to the dwarves, and not Loki. Balder goes back to the dwarves, meets Loki there, thanks him for saving him. And then they go and they see the crown is now complete. It is very beautiful. It's got the jewels, the ice pieces. And then he turns to Loki and says, and now after the dwarves gives it to them, he says, we're all working on swords, but I couldn't leave this project alone. And then he leaves them to go make swords because the fight is coming. The princess's people are approaching. So they have to prepare. And Balder asks Loki, I don't think I will get there. I'm going to stay here and, go with them into battle. I must do something. Would you please bring the crown to the princess for me? And Loki says, of course, how could I not? So he gives him the crown, and Balder goes out. He's clad in armor and about to goes out into battle with the dwarves. Meanwhile, we see Loki. I forgot to say, after his stepmother gives Balder her gift, they walk outside and they are spied on by a bird, but they don't know they're being spied on. And I'm pretty sure that's Loki. So yes, Loki flies as it looks like some sort of an eagle, I think. I think it's an eagle. He flies with the crown towards the people of the princess. He flies right past them. You see them all gathering up for war, standing in front of the doors. They'll lead them out. And he flies, and it lands on top of a cliff, turns to his human form, and throws the crown into lava, and then starts to maniacally laugh. Well, not maniacally, but he's like, ha ha. And that's it. That's where the second issue ends. Okay, first the cover. These have some really cool covers. I really like the colors. You see, there's the princess. She's drawn very, very well here. Look at that. She looks actually better than how she was drawn with the interior art in the first issue. But yeah, I love how she looks. I love the colors and how, because it's all green and blue, like dark green and pale blue here, that it immediately, the red hair and eyes brings you to her face. It's very nice. You're immediately drawn to her face. Yeah, it looks very good. Excellent. It's old and been so long. Look, and see, we got a little tear here at the cover. What to do? It's been stuck in a bag for 2 years. Alright, let me show you a bit of the art here. So here we go. Yeah, when I reread the first issue, yeah, the art style is not bad. Looks better in some places than it does in others. Some places it looks really fucking funny too. Oh, and I found one mistake here actually. In the page where you got the blonde young man telling the story, And when the monk asks something about the crown, the speech bubble, the arrow is directed where the young man is, but it's the monk asking it. So I was like, wait, something's not right here. If the monk is asking, then it should be directed towards him. I'm pretty sure there was a mistake there. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, Loki says how, and Balder says how Loki surprised him. Here he actually helps him. And here Loki is surprised by his wisdom, Balder's wisdom. There you go. You see, this is the drop that he got. So yeah, the art style is okay. Again, it looks way better in some places than in others, but still, very decent. Look at that. And that's the entrance over there. Oh, okay. Alright, on to the story. Okay. So, it went on, not as I'd suppose expected from rereading the first issue. I thought that, when I reread the first issue again, I thought that Loki would go with Balder straight to the people of the princess, and maybe talk directly to her to, forge a union through marriage. I didn't think that he would go and try to get these gifts to give to her, and do all this. But yeah, I suppose it makes sense he should bring a gift, but it's funny how every time he just can't get through to even talk to the princess. And then he has these dreams that he'll die. Oh, and in the cave, while they're sitting there freezing, Loki asks, tell me what scares you. And he tells him, I'm worried about this, what did he call it? 1 second. The thing that he's worried about. There we go. Only Mistleberry. A simple Mistleberry carries poison enough to seal his fate. So yeah, some Mistleberry. So that's the information Loki finds out about him. So okay, so it looks like there's one thing his mother couldn't ask not to kill him. She asked everything else, but she couldn't ask this berry to not harm him. Right. So so they didn't go as I expected. So now then he decided to forge her a gift, which I suppose would be more special because he went around the trouble of collecting everything and making it, and then joining the dwarves anyway. And I wonder how the final battle's gonna be, because it's only 3 issues, so I gotta wonder how well they can wrap this up actually in a 3-issue miniseries. Because you don't really get as much. I mean, I suppose maybe if you played the game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you know more about this. Because this is based on the Ubisoft creation, so I don't know. I wonder if these characters are in the game. But yeah, and then poor Balder, all that trouble, almost freezing, for Loki to just take and just dump the crown into lava. And I guess maybe Loki wants to kill Balder, because he's essentially sending him to this battle without the crown ever reaching the princess. Or maybe not for Balder to die, but he doesn't want peace. Which does beg the question, then why did he bother? Well, I suppose maybe to devastate Balder, because, imagine going through so many perils, so much trouble, putting in so much effort, almost freezing to death, or at least in this case, almost freezing, to just have it all ripped away because you gave the crown to Loki, and he just dumped it in. I mean, imagine how depressing that is. So he laughed in the end, so I guess he's hoping that a war will start and there'll be far more trouble, I would presume. And what does it mean for Balder? Is this the dream he's been having? The dreams, I mean? Is he gonna die here and that's it? Is he gonna die in this battle, never even having, been with the princess or met her in person? Because perhaps, because Loki pretended to be this fish and guided Balder to see, his future faith And he saw the princess in it, so I wonder if that was Loki's doing as well. If he's just leading him on all this time, and this princess, not that she doesn't exist, but wouldn't even entertain the idea of marrying Balder. I don't know. But I am intrigued to find out. So far, it hasn't been a bad little mini-series. We'll see how it wraps up, but I can say right now it's not something I probably would reread again. It's like the one-time nice read, and that's about it. Maybe if it was longer and had different art style, perhaps. But yeah, thus far, definitely not bad. We'll see how it wraps up, of course, though. At least finally I'll finish it. So, that is it, folks. Let me know if you've read this one back then or now. What did you think about it? I'm going to have to think of a thumbnail to make for this one. Because back then it was still when I didn't make thumbnails. I just took a photo of the cover for the thumbnail. And it looked terrible. Yeah, I'll see what I come up with now. Alright, folks, that is it. Remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!